All right, guys, how we doing today? Today we're working on a plasma cutter I've got. I had it for a while, used it a lot. It's been a really good one, but last time I used it, it developed an air leak. Me being me, I tore it apart, found out what was going on with it, and discovered the problem, found out it needed a new regulator, and got online, got the parts ordered. And it took a while for them to get here, so by the time they did, I didn't need it anymore. I'd already finished the job I was working on, so I just, stacked the parts on it, and then this morning, whenever I needed to use the plasma cutter again, guess what? So here we are trying to put this thing back together. I took it apart, oh, it's been months, 3 months probably, but it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. It's pretty basic. But let me get you turned around here. I'll show you what we're working on. All right, it's a Versacut. I believe it's the 40. Yeah, 40 is what it says there. It's made by Eastwood Company. Like I said, I've had this thing for several years. Me and my dad kicked in together on it, bought it. It's been a while, probably 10 years ago. Used it quite a bit. It does awesome on the, this one, we went with the 40 because it's both, it'll run off 120 or 240. Got a, let's see here. Just got a little plug adapter. You plug it into and plug it into the 120, and she does her thing. I don't remember. I think you're limited to 27 amps, maybe. That's it. That one's stated on there. I'm thinking it might. You can't go the full 40 amps running on 120, of course, but for sheet metal stuff like that, it works great. And we wanted the versatility of being the 120 volts, so that when we didn't have access to 220, we had to still be able to use it. So that's the one we went with. It's good up to I don't remember what it's rated at. I've cut 1/4 inch with it, and it cuts through it like it's nothing. So it works out pretty well. But I'll get this thing. Let me get you set up here, and I'll kind of pull it apart and show you what we're getting into. All right. Now, like I said, I took this thing apart a couple months ago. Just a few screws. They're all just Phillips head screws that hold everything together. It's got 4 little feet that sit on it, and the handle on top, and then this whole cover will just lift right up off of it. Of course, it's got the the whole warning, must be professional, this, that, what have you. Yeah, I'm none of that, but I'm still gonna take it apart and fix it anyway. You get inside it, of course, it stays out here in the shop, so it's good and dusty inside. I probably should take it apart. I blow the fan out on it from time to time, but I really should give it more attention than what I do. Trying to remember exactly how this is set up. That's right, okay. Yeah, air comes in here, runs up this little tube here, goes into this regulator on the front. I think you're supposed to cut, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's around 80 PSI max on this little plasma cutter. So it's got its own regulator, got a little water trap in it. I don't know if y'all can see all that. Yeah, sort of. But, she's, like I said, she's good and dusty inside. I'll probably take some compressed air. Here it is, yeah. This piece right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it broke off right back here. It sits out here. Of course, the garage isn't heated in the wintertime unless I'm out here, and then only part of the time then. So, plastic, cold weather, it doesn't work real well. So things get brittle, things break. So it did. And so just got online. It was real easy to find. I don't know if I can get you that where you can see it, read a part number. The Plasma 40 regulator from Eastwood, item number 21261. Picked it up. Again, it's been a couple months. I'm thinking it was around $30 or so, but real easy. They support the stuff that they sell, which is a good thing. That's a stuff's gonna wear out, stuff's gonna break. So being able to actually buy parts for the stuff whenever it does, that's a big deal to a consumer, and very happy about that aspect. So let me look at this thing. Let's see. Looks like that spins around that way. It looks like it's got all the fittings it needs on it. Got one that goes out that way. It's got one comes in here. Let's see, this feeds the gauge on the front. so you can see what you're actually adjusted to. This is your air inlet, and then this is outlet that actually goes out to the stinger for when you're cutting. Looks like a pretty straightforward swap. It's just press lock fittings and a little plastic lock nut. This thing slides in and out. I believe we got enough room to change it without taking anything else apart. So let's just try and kind of dig into her here. I'll try and set it where you can kind of see what we're doing, and we'll go from there. So first things first, let's move these screws that I took out so I don't lose all them. Of course, press lock fittings, if you've never messed with them, they just, you push in on them, push in, push them down, and then they'll, the hoses will slide out of them, usually. Sometimes they can be a little stiff and pain in the butt, but all in all, they're not too bad. If you've ever dealt with a lot of air ride stuff, runs it, things like that. There we go. Those pop out. Yeah, that's gonna need a pair of channel locks here real quick. Break that free. All right, yeah, she slides right out. Able to get it clear without taking anything else apart, so that's good. You can kind of see here, right there is what broke off. Otherwise, looks like an exact replacement. That little screw, that little mounting hole there. I'm sure this thing's probably universal to fit, you know, probably 15 different items, and one of them used a screw hole there, but in any case, this one does not. So we'll just take this one and get her slid back in place. It's just a round hole, so there's no locking tab that orientates how this thing sits or anything. So just set it in there where it will sit flat up against the front cover. Kind of tweak it around to sit how you need it. Where's that line at? There we go. All right, I'm probably all up in the way here, but get that one pressed in good. We'll take this one, lock it in place good. Give them a little tug when you push them in. Make sure they're holding in there good. Everything looks good there. So, I think we got it in place there. Go ahead and snug this front back up just a little bit. It's plastic, so, you know, don't break it because it will. That's how my luck goes. I'll go to tighten it up and she'll just completely break off on me. So, let's see. While we got it open, I'll go ahead and give her a little cleanup in here. Let that compressor do its thing for a minute. Go ahead and take this and put some air on it. Still got a little bit of a leak back here on this fitting. Well, check her out. You can see that it's kind of cut at an angle there. These really need to be perfectly flat when they go in. Let me see if these wire cutters are stout enough. Yeah, we'll give it a shot. Just clean her up there, get it flat right off. tuck her back in. It doesn't take much taking it off. Let me go check my regulator on my main line, because I might have that thing cranked up pretty good too. So I'll be right back. All right then, had somebody stop by and had to do a little bit of work real quick, but now we get back on this, trying to remember where I was at. Let's see, just put everything back together. I did figure out, once I got my head on my butt and realized what was going on here. It does have you hear a slight hissing, and once the cover's on it, I've never really noticed it. But it's this water trap. It bleeds off just a little bit, so any water that does accumulate in there, any moisture, it purges it out the bottom. There's actually a little hole right here under it that it's coming out. And I've never noticed it before, but as I'm sitting right here in front of it, it's got my attention, thinking it was leaking somewhere else. But I do believe that is by design now. So the regulator up front looks good. We'll crank it up, make sure everything's working there. Like I said, we'll set her up about 60. I have to play with it and get it dialed in. I seem to remember doing this when we first bought it. Then once it's set, you pretty much set it and forget it. I don't ever cut with it on 120 volt, so I've always used it in the shop. And while I'm in here, I've got access to the 220, so I pretty well keep her cranked. And if I'm cutting something thin, I'll turn it down so I don't, I get a better cut out of it, straighter edges. But for the most part, she stays pretty well cranked up, so I keep the air to it. And it's usually for quick work, just trying to get something done and going. But let me go ahead and pop this off so we don't have to listen to that hissing. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cover put back on and the little handles put back together. There's, I don't know, a dozen screws or so that go back together. It's all pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you need me to show you how to put a screw in. So I'll get her all put back together, and we'll give her a shot, make sure she works. Alright guys, we've got this set up here, should be ready to cut. Got my air hooked up, got her plugged in, she turned on. Sounds normal, everything looks good on this end. Let's give her a shot, see if she works. I guess I should probably grab it'll be alright, I'm not cutting much. See what she does. Works pretty good. Down here you can take a look at it. And now I wasn't the smoothest. I was sitting in a chair, wasn't really set up for it. Didn't have that clamped at both ends, so I stumbled a little bit here and there on it. But all in all, for what it probably had this thing for close to 10 years or so. Used it quite a bit, especially early on. Never really had much trouble out of it. I mean, this is the first big part. I've gone through some consumables, burned up some tips here and there. I mean, just your basic wear and tear stuff. And I'm maybe a little harder on stuff than I really need to be at times. I cut stuff that I probably shouldn't be doing, and I'll catch myself using the stinger as a hammer whenever I need to, and probably not the best way to go about things. But all in all, I mean, for what it is, the little Versacut 40 from Eastwood, man, I like it. It's really paid for itself. I got no complaints about it. Parts are still available, so, and like I said, we've had it for several years. So if they're still supporting it now, then I feel good about it. It's not something that you go pick up somewhere and you try to order something for it 6 months later and it's discontinued. They no longer support their products or anything. So I got to give them that. Yeah, I know whenever I took that cover off and everything, and I kind of made a joke about, getting into it, not being a professional or anything. I do want everybody to know I did have it unplugged. I kind of think that goes without saying, but it's not idiot-proof anymore. Every time you think you got something idiot-proof, they come up with a better idiot. So you just gotta deal with that in life these days. But I guess that's all I got for now. I can get this piece cut and finish up the project that I'm working on, and maybe y'all see a video about that. Maybe you won't. I don't know. But for now, y'all have a good one, and I hope you liked what you saw. If it helps you, great. If not, that's fine with me too. It's all right. Y'all have a good one.